Oh, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So nice to meet you. Where are you at the moment?
I'm in Paris at home.
Okay, beautiful. Um, and how long have you been based in Paris?
Since COVID, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved back. I was in Asia for 7 years. And yeah, I moved back right before, more or less right before COVID.
You're in Hong Kong? Have I made this up?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I was in
And
Hong
you're
Kong for 6 years and Shanghai for 1 year.
amazing. Oh my gosh, Southeast Asia. Amazing.
Yeah.
And have I got this wrong? You're a lawyer there, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you went from being a lawyer in Hong Kong to an artist in Paris.
Well, yeah, I was already an artist in Hong Kong as well. I was doing both,
Okay.
but yeah, I really decided to embrace the my music career and everything music related when I moved back. So, but I was already like music was already a big part of my life in Hong Kong.
Amazing. So I would love to know like what was your early exposure to music when you were growing up?
Yeah. So my first experiences with music were really well. First of all, at home, obviously, there was always music in my house, and I was just like spending so much time listening to records and everything, singing, dancing, the whole thing. And then when I was like 7 or 8, I started studying classical music. So I learned to play the clarinet. I was in an orchestra. I was in a choir. Like I did the whole thing. Music was basically my entire life until up until I turned 18. When I was not at school, it was all about music. So.
And then how did you like what led you down the path to becoming a lawyer?
To be honest, I was just being very practical.
Yeah.
I had no one in my surroundings. I grew up in the countryside in France. I didn't have like the real countryside. I mean, no neighbor, like no close neighbors. You have a bus that pick you up to go to school like super early because you have like a I don't know 30 or 40 minutes drive, like that kind of stuff. So for me, a career in music was just not on the table at all. It was not even a job. Like I thought it was something, you would only do if you were talented like Beyonce or Adele, but not for normal people like me. So so when I turned 18, I moved to Paris, started my studies, and yeah, I basically had to also provide for myself and be practical. I was very good at school. And also I was really aware that like understanding our system, our legal system and everything would be an asset, whatever I would do later. So that's why I decided to embrace that path. And then I ended up actually loving it because I'm a bit of a geek as well. So yeah, it was fun.
I'm actually really curious to know like how does being a lawyer benefit you as an artist at the moment?
On so many levels. Oh my
Really?
God.
Wow.
Yeah, no, really. Like, first of all, I would say I discovered my passion, or I really embraced my passion for writing. When I was studying law, I was writing a lot at the time, obviously on legal matters. I also did a PhD, so I spent a lot of time like studying, understanding the system, how contracts and the legal system also at a higher level works. And I feel like this was kind of training for me to then become an artist and an entrepreneur, because when you are an artist nowadays, you have to be able to navigate the whole system at every level, and you have to be able to do literally everything. And it gave me a very strong, how do I say it in English? Like a very strong core, kind of, if you see what I mean. Like I'm very dedicated. I know how to work very thoroughly for hours. You know, it doesn't scare me at all. And the thing is, when you're an artist nowadays, it's not just about making music. It's about, being able to make 1,000 decisions a day, enter contracts sometimes that have nothing to do with anything I could have seen in my law studies, like publishing contracts and stuff like that. Like, you have to be able to flip hats all the time. And I feel like my law studies were just the perfect training for that, because it gave me a structure, like a very strong structure.
Wow, it's such an interesting thought, because I've always thought that, often artists are really vulnerable. You're often like told, this is an amazing opportunity, sign this contract. I mean, it happens to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Artists don't know what they're signing away, and then like no one can fuck with you, basically.
Well, I'm also make mistakes.
Okay.
Also, the thing is, first of all, our landscape is moving, it's changing day by day at the moment. It's crazy how things that were true maybe 6 months ago are not true anymore. So you have to be able to adapt very quickly. And that also applies to the legal framework of music in general. So what was like the strategy that were true maybe 2 years ago or 5 years ago, they're not true anymore.
Wow.
So maybe 3 years ago I would have said no to a certain type of contract and be like, oh my God, no, this is a no-go. But now that things have changed a lot, I would maybe be inclined to look at it, So it is not easy. It's definitely not easy. It's not an easy job.
Does that mean that, like, to be frank, like standards have got lower? That you're willing to look at something that you would have said no to a few years ago? Or does it mean that you just have to be adaptable?
No, you have to be adaptable. It's not about lowering. No, it's. Sorry, yeah. Maybe I wasn't clear. Like, it's not about lowering my standards. It's more about adapting. Well, first of all, adapting to the context. Also, my position on the map, the artistic map. Understanding where I stand, what I need, because my needs are also changing quickly, depending also on the success that I have. Some of the things that, like, for instance, if I give you a very, like, in a few minutes, because I'm sure you don't want to talk about this for the whole time, but if you sign a certain type of contract now with a label, my position right now and the position that I was in 5 years ago is completely different. So I cannot enter the room of negotiation the same way, or my management cannot enter the room of negotiation the same way at all. And what I would have accepted maybe 5 years ago, I won't accept today, and sometimes vice versa, which is a bit, yeah.
So interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
It's really cool to have this combination of experience. And so when you, obviously, I imagine you started songwriting before you started producing.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
At what point did those two things combine and you decided to?
I think, well, it was always kind of like producing was always kind of on the path for me, because like I released my first solo EP in 2020, then I released an album, so it was always on the path, but I was also kind of reluctant to indulge too much because I didn't feel like I was connecting. Like, sometimes it didn't make me feel like I was making music, because it was, I mean, nowadays making music, producing music is almost computer science more than it is, keys and yeah, the musical theory. So for me, it felt a little bit like I'm getting away from my artistry, and I was always also about telling stories. So songwriting was something that was just my passion. But I would say probably 2 years ago, I started going back to the production side of things and enjoying it much more. Simply because also it makes me very happy to be able to have an eye and on everything, like on the whole process, and feeling like I'm finally creating a sound, not just songs, but a sound that is mine. Um, so I guess it's another way to tell stories that I'm learning right now.
Yeah. I feel like storytelling is a big part of your art, actually.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So maybe you often describe yourself as an Afro House witch,
yeah. I
which
would
I
say witch nowadays because Afro House has been a bit the genre has been a little bit diluted, or so I would say
do too.
witch in general.
Okay,
Yes.
witch in general. Can you share a little bit more about where that comes from?
So it's a little bit of a mythology. Like my family in Western Africa, Conte, is supposedly the descendant of a sorcerer called Sumangu Conte, who whose body was never found when he died. So we don't know if he really died,
Mm.
and so there is this thing that was passed on from my ancestors, and this kind of like all those stories about all the powers that we have, and everything. And I feel when I started singing so much and performing live, most importantly, a lot of people were like, "Wow, it's like you have a magical power because you make us feel things, or you make us experience things that maybe we didn't experience before. We're not able to tap in before." And so, yeah, it was kind of a way for me to kind of like give a little nod to my ancestor and be like, yeah, okay.
Love that. Can I try and guess your star sign?
Okay. Yeah.
Are you a Gemini?
Oh, wow. No, but my partner is. It's funny that you say that. No,
Oh damn, I was hoping because it's like,
you want a second guess?
do you want me to have a second guess?
Okay.
Wait, okay, let me think. What goes well with Gemini?
Ah.
Sagittarius.
Oh, wow. No, I'm Leo.
You're a Leo?
Yeah. I
I'm
thought
also,
it was. I always think that it's quite obvious because, yeah, I
that makes
feel like
sense.
I do have the personality of a Leo. But Gemini, I kind of like it. Someone once told me that we all need at least one Gemini in our life to
It's just
stay.
you have this duality of like the lawyer who's like obviously very diligent and in this so rooted and so practical, and then you have this beautiful mythology
Yeah.
which is completely spiritual and completely. And I just thought that those two things, I'm like, wow, I bet she's a
Yeah,
Gemini.
I like that. I like the explanation. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm also a Leo.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, Team Leo.
I love Leos. That's very Leo to love a Leo, but it's true, I
Yeah.
do.
But I mean, we love people in general, right? Like, we love life. We love love.
That's so true, yeah. Um, sorry, I keep going off piste. Um,
That's okay.
so you moved to Paris in 2020, and then it sounds like that was actually the time where your career was committed. You released your first EP. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you've come a very long way in quite a short amount of time.
Yeah, I was very lucky. Like the first releases that I made, like the first collab that I ever released, Kusimama with Floyd Levine, was like instantly on top of all the charts, Beatport, Traxsource. And then when I released Gold, another collab with Daniela Töke in 2020, same thing. And then Black Coffee at some point was playing 3 or 4 tracks of mine in every set.
Wow.
And then, of course, what happened with Your Voice that everybody knows, that like all of those little miracles that happened were just like crazy.
Right. Wow. And like out of all of these moments, like which have been the biggest, like pinch me moments, like the ones that you really didn't think were going to happen or were beyond your dreams?
I think the very first time I performed Your Voice with Adam, Rampa, and Enemy in Paris, I think that moment, even though I performed it like 1,000 other times and in front of more people, but it was the very first time that I basically didn't have to sing. Everybody knew the lyrics by
Wow.
heart. And it's something very special when you have um, 3,000 people singing at you, I hear your voice, you're my shelter. You know, it's like there is something quite crazy about it. It's like, what? Okay, I like it.
It's like it's something that so few people will ever experience in their
Yeah,
lifetimes, you know?
yeah, yeah. I felt, and I feel very, very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. Yeah.
And then you have a new single called You and Me, which you
Yes.
just released.
Yes, last Friday.
Yeah, can you tell me a bit about that single, a bit behind the story?
Yeah, so this song is kind of a new, like a step in a new direction, like not a new direction, but I'm just taking a little sideways from what I've been releasing so far. On the vocal side, because I'm using vocal effects on my vocals so that it doesn't sound like me. It's the first time that I'm doing that. I quite enjoyed it, like kind of chopping and making my vocals a bit more dirty. It was very fun. So yeah, that's a bit new for me. Also on the production side, it's a little bit less Afro, a little bit more straight, which is also like it's indie dance and melodic at the same time. It's a groove that I really like at the moment. And as I'm working on my second album, it's direction that I'm leaning towards. And yeah, it feels really nice to be just able to explore right now.
And in terms of like your writing process, like how does it start? Is it like a melody? Do you come up with a chorus or a hook, or do you start with production, or how does it work?
It really depends, but most of the time, well, either I come up with some like lyrics in my head that have no music, so more like poems, or themes, or because I'm like I have a very dense inner life, so because I spend so much time alone as well, like traveling and everything. So I spend a lot of time just discussing with myself and be like, oh yeah, like life, life, love, death, whatever. And this is just food for my music. So either it starts like that, or with like some simple chords, a little bit of a groove, and I just start jamming on it, basically. But like truly, most of the time, the story comes first. That's something that is very, very important to me. Um, yeah, I need the lyrics to make sense to me, and I need to be able to share everything that is going on here.
And then you said you're working on your second album.
Yeah.
Is there a sort of theme that's emerging, and also when do you plan to release it?
I think I'm going to release it towards the end of this year, the beginning of 2027. And in terms of themes, I think it's going to be an exploration on faith, love, and acceptance in general, not just self-acceptance, acceptance in general. That yeah, it's also kind of a photography of where I'm at right now, spiritually, and yeah. I hope it answers your question. I realize, like, even me, I'm a bit like,
Well, if you're in the middle of it as well, it's quite hard to see
exactly.
distance, I find. And obviously, like visuals are also like a huge part of your performances. Are you designing them? Like, do you have a team, and how do you come up with them to go run alongside your music?
Yeah, I'm very lucky that my partner is a multi-talented person.
Gemini.
And yeah, yeah, it's a Gemini. Like he is. He has also many people inside his head, which is really cool. Sometimes challenging, but cool. So yeah, he's a very talented graphic artist, artist in general. He also does music. And so we kind of set the artistic direction together, and then he's the one basically creating all the visuals. And yeah, basically all my covers have most of my covers, I would say, have been made by him. All of the covers from the label, and yeah, we know it. Obviously, we've known each other for over 8 years now, so it's very easy to work together.
That's awesome. So it's like real synergy there.
Yeah, definitely.
And can you tell me the ethos behind, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but Kante music? You
No,
pronounce
no, pronunciation is perfect.
it okay, good. Kante music.
Sorry, what was the question?
Like, what's the ethos behind it? And
Um,
what's your plan for it?
what's the?
What's your plan for it?
So originally, it was really for me to have a platform to be able to put out my music without any gatekeeper. I wanted to just be able to explore and share what I wanted to share without always having to be like, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Should I do this? Should I, oh, or no, it doesn't sound enough like this or like what you've done before. Like, I wanted to be completely free. So that's why I created this label. It was also a way for me. It's important, I think, as a vocalist and a female artist to be also a label owner, because I mean, house music is made mostly of men producers, and which is strange because most of the like house music anthems or like the foundation is vocals, but we are almost non-existent in the history of house music, which is a bit sad. So in a way, it was a way to be like, okay, we exist as well, and I want to be that person, and maybe there will be more. I hope there will be many, many more after me. So yeah, first it started like that, and now that I've been releasing a bit more music, and then that I'm receiving so many demos, I feel like it's also time to open up and release other people's music with. I'm not saying I will be able to always follow this, but I have this kind of rule that I want to release mostly or primarily music from marginalized people. So yeah, that's it's also kind of a way to share my platform, basically.
And in terms of finding those people, do you hope to potentially access artists in, you said your father's from West Africa, is that correct? So perhaps like finding artists in Africa, or is it going to be more European, or how do you hope to find artists?
I mean, obviously the music is the guide. So, if I only receive music that feels right to me from European artists, I'm not going to be like, oh no 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 no. I don't want to be so like I don't want to become such a huge gatekeeper as well because I've been gatekept myself.
Wow.
But I'm looking for those artists. I'm also helped by a friend of mine who is based in Kenya, Gedi, and so he has access, like more direct access to that pool of artists that are just there waiting to get a chance to be heard. So we're gonna start there and then open up. Same thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Kenya sounds amazing right now.
Best crowd.
Sorry?
Best crowd in Kenya.
Oh, really? Wow. I haven't spent any much time in Africa, sadly. And in terms of your upcoming gigs and releases and news, like, do you have anything coming up you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, there's like the spring actually is already here and quite busy. So I'm gonna be coming back to the US for the Peer Festival in Los Angeles. I'm also going to play in Bali for Zamna. I'm doing Tomorrowland. Yeah, there's many other stuff in the pipe on Ibiza as well. I can't wait to share all those news. So yeah, it's gonna be quite busy. And then on the release schedule, I wish I could share a bit more, but I cannot because there's been a kind of some roller coaster on my side. So some stuff is a little bit in the air. So I was going to announce something, but now I have to wait a bit more. So let's see.
Everyone understands, don't worry.
What I can say is that I have some cool collabs coming up, and also obviously a lot of solo releases as well, and the album at the end of the year. So
Amazing. Great. There's so much going
more to
on.
come. Yeah.
So now I'd love to hear I've got a few questions for hot takes.
Okay.
How would you describe the music scene in Paris right now? What's it looking like?
Uh, it's not an easy question. I would say this year seems to be a bit more, I would say, withdrawn a little bit,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah, I feel like the atmosphere in Paris in general is a bit heavy at the moment with everything that is going on, and it feels like people are not going out as much. I see less events than it used to be. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay, but I think it's gonna be better, or hopefully in the future.
Yeah. Maybe as summer comes
Yeah,
in. Yeah.
hopefully, yeah.
And what's your golden era of music?
Whew. Uh, oh my God, it's so hard to pick one. Uh, uh, I want to say the 90s because I'm also a kid from who grew up in the 90s, so it kind of like makes sense to me. But I also love the 70s, so the 80s as well. Yeah,
The last.
it's very hard to pick.
That's a good.
It's very
It's
hard.
a strong era. Wait, I'm
Yeah.
curious of. So my birthday's August 4th. Is that the same as your birthday?
Oh, August 2nd,
Oh my gosh, great. Wait, were you born in 1990?
1998.
Oh my gosh, you're so much younger than I am.
Oh, really?
I can't tell anybody's ages these days. I was born in 1990, so I'm 8 years older
Yeah.
than you. We're very close to having the same birthday, though.
Yeah.
Um, and what are you mentioned that there's feeling a little bit heavy in Paris, but what are you enjoying about the music industry at the moment?
I'm really enjoying just to give you a little bit of context, there's been like a lot of buzz around Afro House and everything for like 2-3 years. It was really like buzzing, buzzing, buzzing. It's still buzzing, but it's a bit more now. Things are more stable. It was almost too much excitement at some point,
Yeah.
and now things are more stable, and it feels like everybody's kind of taking their seats, and with more ease now, and we can go back to like making music that we like and having events that are nice without so many phones, and it feels like we are going back to kind of an like normality, kind of like what house music used to be, but in a way better, because we also had this huge push just after COVID. So right now, yeah, it actually feels very nice, and that's what excites me most. What's coming next? Like, when is the next buzz gonna come, and how it's gonna look like? No, nobody knows. But this in between stage is really nice.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's like such massive hype. It's also a lot of pressure on the artists who have been dedicated and committed to this sound for so many years. And it's also like, you know, does this last? And is it in your control if it lasts? And who
Yeah.
is in charge? It's kind of a lot of questions. So it must
Uh,
feel quite nice to be like, no, now it's all settled down. I'm still here,
yeah.
still doing what I love. And if
Yeah.
whoever wants to stick around can, and if you can move on to the next buzz, whatever. There's quite a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it was like for me, the last 2 years were super intense, to a point where I was almost like losing my purpose, losing sense of it. Um, but now, yeah, it feels good again, so I'm very happy.
Do you think that's because you were potentially playing to people who were there because it was trending rather than there because they like the music, or you overworked?
Well, I definitely overworked, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I also have a tendency to do that. But I feel, yeah, at some point it felt like, when you have a dance floor that is not moving and just holding a phone, which I
Yeah.
understand because I'm also singing. So, people feel like, they are also at a show, you know, it makes sense. I understand the desire to record something on their phone, but it's nice to have also like a dance floor that is just there to enjoy the music and the experience without having to record literally every minute of it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine that's quite disconcerting.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, are we having the same moment? You know?
Yeah, because you're present, like
Yeah,
you're in that moment, and everybody else is just a tiny bit detached. It must feel a
yeah,
bit strange.
yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's like you try, Fred again over the last few weeks. I don't know if you've seen his concerts, but he's trying to have a no phone policy in his
Mm.
recent
Oh yeah,
tour.
yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah,
But at the same time, he's generated the most jaw-dropping cultural moments with all of these legends of music, and it's like, how do you re- not get your phone out and record it? It's
right.
historical, so it's
Yeah.
difficult. I
It's
guess.
really hard. It's also to be fair, that's why also I don't want to be like judging all those people who are filming
Yeah,
because if I were on in the crowd, I would probably be filming some point too. And if we are completely honest, most of the artists who are big nowadays, it's also thanks to social media. So we needed that at some point. It's just that it went a little bit too far.
yeah, yeah. Well, I hope it sort of goes back around.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess you kind of answered that. I was actually going to ask you what you're finding challenging in the music industry at the moment, and potentially that could be your answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and as an artist, like where would you like to be in 5 years? It's a real job interview question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. In 5 years, I would like to be probably working on my third or fourth album, touring, but probably outside of the club. Not exclusively, but I would love to be able to do like hard ticket venues as well. And yeah, I hope to have my own like proper show with a proper scenography and everything, dancers, um, musicians, and everything. Like in 5 years, that would be incredible.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I hope I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that. Then just last section, we're going to have a little quick fire round of questions. So just one or two word answers if you can.
Okay.
Who are your favorite artists at the moment?
Labyrinth?
Very good answer. What's the weirdest job you've ever had, apart from being, and lawyer doesn't count?
Oh, what?
What's the weirdest job you've ever had?
Oh, the weirdest job I ever had. Mm, oh my God, I don't know. I was like when I was in high school in the summer, I was taking the thingy out of the corn so that they develop into that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you call it in English, even in French actually. But I was doing
Actually, I'm not sure I do know what you mean. What, like taking corn off the
it's
kernel?
like no, the corn like corn in
Oh, like in the fields.
yes, exactly.
Oh,
Ask for it. I don't know.
you were like plowing.
Yeah, it's like fertilizing the corn, right?
That's
Something like that.
amazing.
Yeah. I don't know
That's
if it's amazing, but
It's the most wholesome answer I've ever heard. Yes. Very wholesome. Wow. What's your favorite country to DJ in?
if I have to choose only one, I would say Turkey.
Oh, amazing. Great. And what's your favorite club night, past or present?
My favorite club?
Or club night?
Okay. Savaya in Bali is super cool. And an event concept. Oh, actually, the show that we had at Gray Area was really cool. That was a
Amazing.
really good one. Yeah, and
Was that in
because
New
that
York?
was one of my highlights of my last tour in the US. So
Oh, great. What made that
yeah.
special?
I feel like the crowd was very diverse. I really like that, having literally people from all walks of life, all ages as well. That was really cool. You don't see that so often. And no tables, or so little that I didn't really see it. So everyone was really dancing.
Great. I love
Yeah.
that. That was in New
Yeah.
York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Uh, maybe learn to DJ. It's not an advice really, but it was insightful.
I think it makes sense, yeah. If you've got all of this body of work and you're
Yeah,
producing, and I
yeah,
think DJing is the last step and it's the easiest step in everything that you do.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
agree.
what's your life motto?
Um, I guess your path is your path, you know?
That's really,
Embrace it,
I love that.
whatever it might be.
And a couple of food related questions. So,
Oh,
what's your go-to comfort food?
popcorn?
Oh, such a shout.
Yeah.
I could eat that for the rest of my life.
Right?
If
So,
it didn't end, I would just always, I would continue to eat it.
yeah.
And what's your favorite restaurant in the world?
Oh, wow. Oh, there's so many. I don't think I can pick one. But I can say that I love Mediterranean food in
Okay.
general because it's a bit hard to pick one, to be honest. There's yeah, just
What about in Paris?
well, it's not really like I don't know if I can call that my favorite restaurant, but there is this little pizzeria just around the corner from our house where we go almost like every other week with my partner and my son, and their pizza is so delicious.
Really?
And also, like the moment that we share together is just so special that
Oh,
for me it's kind of a like yeah, it's called Toscanaci if people want to look it up.
that's so sweet. Yeah, it sounds like it's just like personal. It's a
Yes.
personal favorite. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, amazing. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want to share? Anything I missed out? Any news or updates?
No, I think we covered it all. It was a like really nice conversation. I liked it.
So fun. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you.